Well, hello everyone. Back at World at War Comics, I got another amazing guest, Mr. V Ken Marion. V, it's so good to have you, man. I'm a fan of your art. Like you've done some amazing stuff, man. But we're here to talk about something else that you got going on. But before we jump into that, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing good, Thomas. Thank you so much for having me, man. Like, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. Like, I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into your Kickstarter because it looks freaking amazing. The title is Battle Chronicle Striker, right? Sol-Stryker.
Yep, Battle
It
Chronicle
looks
Sol-Stryker.
freaking
Yep.
amazing. Of course, the art is like next level. So I certainly backed it. I cannot wait to get my cover that I picked out on your Kickstarter. So we'll go through that. But I thought just for fans that maybe don't know who you are, maybe we could go back a little bit, V, if that's okay with you, and just kind of learn how you got
Totally.
this passion for storytelling and art. Can you kind of let us know, like, at what age was that? And was there someone in your life, whether it's an art teacher, a parent, or a friend, that really kind of sparked that interest of art and storytelling?
Yeah. So, I mean, I got into superheroes and comic books when I was very, very young age. And really through the action figures. Like, I can see in the background, you have a big action figure collection. And I was definitely into it. Grew up in the early 90s. So for me, it was the DC and Marvel, they're just called DC Marvel superheroes. They're like the gold backs, if you remember those. Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's how I was introduced to all the characters and like that and like Superman the movie and Batman, the 89 Batman and the 90s Batmans. So those were huge to me growing up. And as I got older, I started getting into comics, a little bit like here and there, like X-Men or Green Lantern, or just it was Kyle Rayner was my Green Lantern that I grew up with. But yeah, and then as I got a little older, I really got into like anime and like manga and stuff like that. And the Tsunami era, like Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, that was hugely influential in me. So it was like that combination of all that stuff I was always drawing. And then when I was in high school is when Batman Hush was coming out. And like I definitely was at the time. Like I was like 14. Like I wasn't connecting artists to like names yet. But I just saw this art and I was like blown away by it. And I was like, oh my God, this is when I first like clocked like who was drawing it. And like, cause it just looked so different from like everything else that I was reading. And quickly after that is when Michael Turner was doing his work at DC with his Flash covers, and then it was the Batman Superman run. So it was like that kind of like combo of those two guys, like made me be like, oh man, I really want to draw comic books for a living. That was like it. And yeah, I went to a really good high school that had a really good art program, and I had like some art teachers that were really encouraging. And then I went to college for art for animation, and then got a job in comics. So it just kind
That's
of
cool,
went
man.
through the whole thing. Yeah.
And what college did you go to, and what type of program was it? Because I know you have the Kubert School of Art on the
Mm.
East Coast, which is very popular, but there's a lot of universities that offer that same type of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I went to Pratt Institute, and it's in Brooklyn. So it's an East Coast school, and I was actually majoring. They didn't have a comic book program, so I was majoring in digital animation. So like think like Pixar, like that was like what my classes were. But I took a lot of illustrate. All my electives I took were all illustration classes. So I kind of like made my own sort of comic book theory class because I feel like one of the things that I like about my art that I think works for me is like the sort of movement and dynamics of like how characters move. And I think a lot of that comes from what I learned in animation. Just a lot of like not being static, like always like moving the camera and always making sure characters are always in these like hyper exaggerated poses. Like something they always taught us was like if someone's throwing a ball, it's like the important poses are like way back and then like way to the front, not like here. So it's sort of stuff like that kind of translated into my work in comics.
And at what age was it, after college, that you really started to pursue some of the bigger publishers, or were you already kind of working on a few things before you graduated?
So when I was in college, I was because Pratt's in Brooklyn, so every year I would go to the New York Comic Con, and it was the first one I went to was the second year it was there. So the first time I went to was 2008, and I went with like the old school way where I just had copies like handouts to hand to people and get portfolio reviews, and always wanted to work at Aspen Comics. That was like the one I really wanted to break. It was like them in DC were like the ones that I really wanted to break into, and yeah, I met Frank who runs Aspen Comics. I met him that first year, and he was like, "This stuff is like you're not good. You're not ready. You're not even close. Like this is like try harder next time, kid." And I it was funny because I was so like heartbroken from that, but like I took that as like motivation to get better the next year and the next year and the next year. So I just kind of kept going back and like trying to fix the things they said I did wrong and like get better and better and better at like life drawing, better at characters, better at like everything, And finally in 2012 is when I kind of like got my break. I feel like is when I broke in. I first like officially. I feel like broke in with Boom Studios. Did a few issues for them, and then from there I went to Aspen. That following year, I brought the stuff I did at Boom. I brought to Aspen, and they were like, "Yeah, I think you're ready." And they had me drawing a Fathom book first, which was so cool because that was
Yeah,
like their flagship title.
legendary, man, legendary Fathom, man.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's like it's such a great story. Like it's such a cool concept, and like I know they've been like working to do some more stuff with it in the future. So like I think the world's going to be like reintroduced to Fathom like in a cool way pretty soon.
Yeah, yeah, and it should be, right? I mean, that's a pretty amazing storyline, and Aspen Comics is pretty legendary with that title. What was that feeling of going back to Aspen and then getting that accepted? I mean, that must have been pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was great. It was super cool because it was like the first year I went, obviously I was turned down. The second year he didn't remember who I was. By the third and fourth year, he kind of like recognized me, my face a little bit. And then for that last year, he was like, "Oh, I think you're ready. I think you were good to go. Let's do this." And I couldn't believe, and I was like, "Oh, sweet." And I was like expecting it to be like, you know, like a title I hadn't heard of, like one of their new things. And they said we're this was in 2013. This is 2013. And no, this was 2012, but it was for the 2013 year coming up where they were doing something called the Aspen 10 for 10, which was like it was their 10-year anniversary and they were putting out 10 new books and each one was going to be $1. So like you could sample the whole line for $10. That was their idea. And they asked me if I want to do the Soulfire one. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome. That's like I wasn't expecting that. And so I got put on the Soulfire book before because that was at the end of the year before I started on it. They said, "Hey, before we start this, do you want to do the Fathom project?" So I was signed on to do Soulfire first, but the Fathom was the first one I did. So yeah.
That's so cool, man.
It,
Congratulations, man.
oh, thanks,
That's
man.
so
Thank you. It
awesome,
was
man.
cool.
Obviously, you moved on and done a lot of stuff since then, but man, to have like a publisher that you want to work with, to get turned down and to work on it to come back, man. I mean, that's a pretty awesome story.
Oh yeah, no, it was so fun, man. And Aspen, like I'll always consider them my comic book family because like they really like fostered me into like becoming like a professional and and they fly me out to cons and like conventions and like just show me how the business worked, and like so much of like how the production goes and like how art needs to be scanned and prepared. Like I attribute pretty much all my knowledge in comics to like working there. So I'm super like tight with those guys, and a couple of them are working on Sol-Stryker, my new crowdfunding book too. Like so some of the guys that work there, so it's very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. That's awesome. And then after Aspen, was it DC right after that?
Yeah, so when I was at Aspen, I worked with JT Kroll a lot. He's a really awesome writer, and we pretty much everything I worked on with him was between Fathom, Soulfire, and then a book called Journey, which was like a creator-owned fantasy book that he did. I was working with him on all of those, and we had a great working relationship. Such a great writer, cool guy, and like we had like very similar tastes, and he knew that I was like trying to break into DC too to like get like some like those like the marquee characters and stuff. And we he had pitched a mini series to Dan DiDio called Bloodlines. It was a reimagination of like these 90s characters that like no one had used in DC for like forever. And
Yeah.
Dan like went for it. And he was like, "Yeah, it sounds great." And it was crazy to me because it was like for years of trying and trying and trying to break in, like it was all of a sudden like just go. And it was like this crazy project in hindsight because there was very little like editorial, I guess, like direction or oversight. It was like because it was during their rebirth era, like the DC rebirth, but it was like these characters that weren't the main characters. So like it wasn't really being paid attention to, I think, by like editorial. So like we kind of like did like just like the story that we wanted to do, and it was it. And it was like, yeah, and it was a very cool way to break in and to have like a mini series. And I was doing the covers, and it was like, yeah, it was very cool. Like because I know a lot of people don't get to do that, so I'm very fond of that miniseries. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when was your first interior work done?
For
Like a
with
comic book,
DC.
like the interiors?
Oh, ever. Oh man. Oh, very so the very first published thing I ever did was for, let me think here. There was a company that used to exist called Blue Water Comics. I'm not
Oh
even sure if they're
yeah.
still around anymore, but they did like they did like biography comics,
Yeah.
and it was for Vincent Price. It was like a biography of Vincent Price, the actor, and that was like the very first thing that like was ever published.
That's kind
Yeah.
of what their thing was, right? Is to do stories on actors and stuff like that, or actresses, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm not even sure if they're still around, like, because I haven't
Oh,
heard stuff from them in a long time. But yeah, it was I did like a couple things for them, and then boom, it was like that to then boom, and then yeah, and I actually did some work for Xenoscope too in between that. I forgot about that.
okay.
Yeah, for like Wonderland and like I did one issue of Wonderland and just random stuff here and there, you know.
And can you kind of talk about the mindset and the difference? Obviously, the work is different, but like the mindset of going into doing interiors versus doing a cover, just from an artist standpoint.
Yeah, so like interiors, like it's all about the storytelling, right? And I've I used to my approach used to be very cinematic. Like I used to the way I would think about it would be very cinematic. Like I wanted everything to like sort of line up camera wise and like make sense like in the sort of like room of what you're making. I've since changed that mentality. Now I kind of just want to make things look as cool as possible. I want to make things look as dynamic as possible, as cool as possible, and as fun as possible. So that means like big shots of characters, you know, like just big in your face kind of like stuff. And that's like a lot what I've been doing on my new book. But like so that sort of has changed my approach to it, but it's always still about the story. Like how do you get the story across? And now how I think is how do I get the story across in the most exciting and dynamic way I possibly can? Whereas like with a cover, there's two different ways to do covers to think about them. Like one is about telling a story on the cover, and the other is about making just like a really awesome look of the character. I've always, as a fan, have always preferred the latter. Like I've always like I would buy books if there's like just a really cool shot on the cover. Like if it was one of those covers where it was like oh Flash is in danger, like he's like wrapped up in like I don't know like ice or something from Mr. Free or from Captain Cold. I was always like I don't really like this, like as like a kid, as like a little kid. So that's always now is my approach. Is like I always with covers I always try to make them just look like as cool and as kick-ass as possible.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have one that you like more than the other, or they're just two different things? And
I mean, yeah, they're two different things. I mean, I think covers are more fun in
yeah,
general, right? Because like interiors, there's like a lot of stuff that you're going to be like spending a lot of time drawing that you don't necessarily like backgrounds or like cars or like just a lot of like minutia crowd scenes, like stuff
yeah,
like that can like really suck the fun out of it. So I think just from a pure just like fun point of view, covers are more fun, but I think there's more of like a sense of like accomplishment and reward of like telling a story, you know?
yeah.
So they're just kind of different.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. Well, maybe V, maybe we could jump into the Kickstarter because you have a very exciting project. I thought maybe I could just pull it up on the screen and we could just kind of talk through
Totally.
it. Is that cool with you? All right.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Awesome, man. Let's pull this bad boy up and check it out because it looks freaking dope.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
There we go. And you're doing you got 11 days to go. You're almost halfway there, so we got to pump this baby out. But man, it looks
Yeah.
dope. The artwork looks absolutely incredible.
Oh,
Um,
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's an original fantasy concept that I came up with. Um, and it's I can give you the soft over the elevator pitch here.
yeah,
So as war, this is the sort of the paragraph kind of synopsis that we've been sharing with people. As war erupts across the battle-scarred land of Impera, the reluctant Princess Roxy Sakai and her rookie Soul-Striker knights must band together to reclaim their kingdom and combat the Fomorian armies of Dracul that threaten to cast their world into eternal darkness. On their journey, they will reconcile truths from a concealed past, master the mysteries of the solar key that powers their kingdom, and unite peoples of disparate nations as they fight to bring salvation to their world.
that's
So it's a big fantasy epic, lots of characters, like a big cast. Originally, the concept I originally wanted to come up with was like, what if like there's a superhero who fought monsters? That was like the original kind of idea that I had when I was like way back when thinking about it. But then like around 2018, 19, I kind of got back into video games, and at the same time was rediscovering um all of like the anime that I loved is in like my youth, like we were talking about earlier, the Toonami block. So like this, so like back in like 2019, I was started playing Final Fantasy 15. I was watching Dragon Ball Z again, and watching Gundam Wing again, and kind of and like all these other shows like Ronin Warriors and Outlaw Star, and like just all this stuff that I grew up loving, sort of concurrently with like comic books when I was a kid. And I just was like, man, I want to make a book that captures the fun of all of this, like this sort of this sense of like enthusiasm and wonder and just energy that I had when I was like 14 years old, discovering like Final Fantasy VII for the first time, or like watching Dragon Ball Z for the first time, or building the Gundam Wing model kits, like that sort of fun and enthusiasm that I had. And I want to bring that into a new story, and just to give that sort of sense of like wonder and fun to like a new generation of people that like because like I feel like those kind of stories, like they're kind of few and far between now, like those sort of like these big epic, like especially in comics, with like brand new characters, and everyone's like super cool and they all have their own point of view. So we've got like a big cast of characters, diverse cast. Everyone's got a comes from a different place, and they all have a story arc that's going to go across the series, where they're all going to begin in one place and end in another. So yeah, it's something I'm really passionate about, really excited about. And if you love like 90s style comics like Wildstorm, Top Cow, Aspen, Cliffhanger, or if you like this the anime and the video games that I mentioned, this is like definitely will be right up your alley.
Nice, man. Well, this part looks pretty awesome. Let's kind of go down and look at some of the rewards that you could get. So I guess this is cover A, right?
Yep, that's cover A. It's like our Star Warsy homage to like a
Yeah,
big shot of everyone. Yeah,
that is awesome. It is the Star Wars homage, huh?
yeah, and it's the Star Wars Lord of the Rings. Or other my writing partner Jason Matthews. He's who I've been working with this crafting the story with. Yeah, let me go through the credits. So me and
Yeah.
my buddy Jason Matthews are both co-writing it. I'm drawing everything, penciling and inking. Andrew Dalhouse is coloring. Josh Reed is lettering, and Mark Roslin did the logo design for us. So yeah, we're pretty proud of how it's like coming out and how it's looking. And yeah, and Jason, he's really big into like tabletop gaming and like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, like classic fantasy, like Vox Machina stuff like that. And so he's bringing a lot of that. Like, so if I'm bringing like my kind of anime 90s comic vibes style, like side to it, he's bringing sort of that classic Lord of the Rings tabletop gaming kind of vibe, and we're kind of mushing it all together and making something that's like very unique, I think. So it takes place on a fantasy world called Impera. There's swords and knights and castles, but there's also guns and mechs, like a giant robotic mechs called paladin armors. There's cars. It's aesthetically it's like a mix of classic fantasy, future sci-fi, and our modern world, kind of all sort of mixed together. Yeah.
That's so awesome, man. And this is your cover, right?
Yep. Yeah. So there's 8 covers in total. I did 5 of them,
Damn.
and we also have Brett Booth, Joe Benitez, and Sue Lee did 3 of the other ones.
Hey,
Yeah.
you got a little all-star
Yeah.
team going on too, man.
Yeah. 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 I mean, if you scroll down, well, so this is another one of mine. That's cover C.
That's
Yeah, it's
so
cover
cool.
C. Yeah. That character's Axel Arrington. He's really cool. He's one of the main
And the
characters.
details, like you're talking about the background, for someone who doesn't care about that too much, boy, you sure went all out on the background. Like I feel like there's Easter eggs in here somewhere.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
That
There's tons of stuff crammed in there. Yeah,
is
that's
awesome.
cover B. This one's cover
Okay.
B. This is also by me. Yeah.
Yeah, so cool, man. So clean.
Thank you, thank you. That's cover D. That one's also by me as well. Yeah.
Looks so awesome, man.
Thank you, thank you.
So here's all your stretch goals right here.
Yeah, yeah. We didn't hit them yet, so
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well,
if hopefully if we hit them, well, we've got some cool stuff planned.
yeah, that's awesome, man. And here's the
And this
Chase
is
variant.
yes, so that's a Chase variant cover. That's our main character, Princess Roxy Sakai. That's one of our main characters, Princess Roxy Sakai. This is an homage to like the Baywatch posters that we had in our walls growing up. Like
Oh
very
yeah.
90s style, like pinup. And yeah, that as a standard cover is only available in the all V Ken Marion cover pack or the all cover pack. And it's also available as a holofoil cover, a virgin holofoil cover, and we also have it available as a metal cover. So that's kind of like our Chase special cover.
Wow. Thing looks awesome. And who did the art on this one?
That one's me. That one's me
You
and
too,
Andrew.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, that
Yep.
looks good.
Thank you. Thank you. And these are the hollow foils we have. They're all virgin, without the trade dress. Yeah.
On here's that cover we were just talking about. H. Beautiful, man.
Thank you.
So
Thank
here's
you.
your
These are
interiors.
Yep, these are the interior pages. They're not in order. They're kind of they're cherry picked across the book to show a bunch of different stuff. So that we want to highlight, like, there's like mech combat, like, so if you like Gundam or um, Robotech or Evangelion, like stuff like that. There's
Yeah.
That's a big element of this book is like the mech combat where they use in this story, the basic idea of the story is this world is split into two factions. So there's humans, like
Mhm.
as we know them, and there's Fomorians, which are these monstrous like race of creatures who dwell in the night, right? And they're immortal except for the sun. So think like they're vampires, werewolves, gargoyles, demons. Like they take the form of all these different type of monsters, but they're immortal. They're strong, and they survive on this energy called shadow key, and they are weak to sunlight. That's pretty much their only weakness. And the humans have all rallied around this kingdom called Hikari, that the royal family of this kingdom has been able to master the power of the solar key, which is the inverse of the shadow key. And it's this sort of magic energy that the king and his royal family has been able to be able to harness his power and can wield it and control it, and they use this energy to power their kingdom, and um, they channel the energy into the Sol-Strikers' swords called Sunblades, and the Sol-Strikers are this elite class of soldiers that protect their kingdom, and they're kind of like superheroes to their kingdom. Like they fight the monsters and keep their kingdom safe and protect everyone. But in this conflict, it's very much like a story of war, right? It is the Fomorians are very disenfranchised. They've been pushed to the outskirts of the lands where things are not fertile. They're not fertile, like not fertile lands. No like food for them to have. No, um, like they're don't have much in way of a society and infrastructure, and they blame Hikari for all of this. And so there's this tension of um, who's really right in this sense, right? It's a very sort of complex story of on the surface, Hikari looks like the good guys and the Fomorians look like the bad guys, but there's all these shades of gray that go into it. And as they feel like the Fomorians feel like they're very disenfranchised, they're rallying behind this one charismatic figure who's sort of bringing the fight to Hikari. And for all the years that of sort of like turmoil that have been put onto the Fomorians, right? And then Hikari, from their point of view, is they've been protecting their people because Fomorians kill Hikari, they kill humans, they eat humans. They're monsters that are, like quite literally, they're like lichens and vampires and sea serpents, and so it's this very interesting tension we have because it is at the core of it, it is a war story between these two factions, and there is going to be points of view from both sides that you could see as right and you could see as wrong. And our main Sol-Striker characters, when they're our main group, our princess and our main group of Sol-Strikers, when they're thrown into this battle and they sort of see all these sort of shades of gray and they start to question the institutions that they've been raised on, like they've been told have been right. It's how do they decide what the right path forward is, and how do you be a true hero to bring peace for everyone and to sort of save everyone, and not sort of along the sort of ideologies, but of what it truly means to be a good person, be a hero, and to walk like the path of like true victory and enlightenment, And so it's a lot of things that are sort of esoteric, like sort of high concept ideas, but put into this very fun tsunami Saturday morning cartoon, like rip roaring action sort of package. So there's a lot of action, a lot of great, like just uh, characters. Like I wanted every character visually and personality wise to be like, so for someone to pick up this book, one of these characters will be your new favorite character. Like
Yeah.
that was sort of my goal in this going forward. So yeah, sorry, I just kind of went on a tear there.
No, it's good, V. That's good. I mean, that it's freaking looks awesome, man. All I'm envisioning is action figures out of some of these characters. That's all I could think about.
Oh, I want
They would
that
be
so
so
badly,
amazing.
man. That'd be my dream, man. Because
Yeah.
I'm a big action figure fan as well. So I would love to. That was when I was designing the characters. That was a big part of it. Was like, how could I? What would be the coolest toys to have as a kid?
Yeah.
One one fun thing is the Soul
Yeah.
Strikers have they have a this is totally me thinking about like the toy version of it, right? So the Soul Strikers have sun blades, right? And when they're piloting these mechs, we're calling them paladin armors. Their sun blade essentially is like the key, so they stick it down. Like when they're sitting down, they stick the sun blade down in front of them, and it like locks into the key ignition. And then the sun blade become like their sun blade becomes their left hand joystick for the mech as they're piloting it. You know, so it's like and like powers it. And so it's like this how the swords are kind of interlocked with the mechs and stuff. It's this whole thing that was very like inspired by like like Power Rangers or like Gundam, you know.
That's so amazing, man. I love it. I love it.
Thank you, thank you.
Dude,
Yeah,
just the detail is amazing.
thank you so much. Yeah, Andrew Dalhouse, who's coloring this book, he's an
Yeah.
amazing colorist. I think he's the best colorist in the industry. He's doing the work of his career. I mean, he's worked with Brett Booth for like forever.
Yeah.
He does a ton of stuff for Marvel and DC, but like I think this is some of like literally the best stuff he's ever done. He's like putting so much extra oomph into it, and it just there's so much texture and depth that he's using to illustrate the characters. Like Andrew's just amazing.
Incredible. Yeah. I mean, especially when you see like pages like this where there's so much detail to be a colorist and get all that right, man, it's just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Such a skill set.
Yeah, and these are all new characters too. So like, I did character designs for like the main guys, you know. But like a lot of this stuff, like it'd be very collaborative. Like he'd call me on the phone, be like, "What's this color supposed to be? What's this color supposed to be?"
Yeah.
So like, and a lot of it he's kind of making up on his own too. So he's really doing an incredible job, you know.
Yeah. Incredible, man. Yeah, the
Thank
interiors
you,
look
thank you.
really good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was really important to me that the interiors look as good as the covers. Like that, I like because like when I was growing up, you know, all those Wildstorm books, all those Top Cow
Yeah.
books, like they all like ripped on the inside, you know, and like that was kind of like the motivation to try to make this look as
Sure.
awesome as possible.
Yeah,
And yeah, so these
definitely
are
that 90s vibe for sure.
thank you, and these are the Fomorian characters. They're with the as you can see, they're quite literally take the form of monsters, you know, and that's kind of the divide, sort of like the class divide in this world is like humans and these Fomorian creatures and the conflicts that sort of arise from that.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Pretty
I've
awesome,
got
man. So it's 52
thank you.
pages, man. So it's a pretty thick volume one.
Yeah, it's in bet- we're calling it a graphic novel because it's going to be a 64 page book, so it's 52
Okay.
pages of story, and then there's going to be 12 pages of behind the scenes stuff. So like work in progress, like pencils, layouts. So we're going to have some pinups from some other artists that are going to contribute some pinups for the back. So it's going to be some really a lot of fun stuff in the back
Yeah.
too. But yeah, it's going to be a square bound graphic novel, soft cover graphic novel and with all the different variant covers. And then obviously the metal covers will have a medal attached to the front.
That's so cool, man.
Thank you. Yeah, and if you keep scrolling, you can see the Brett Booth and the Joe Benitez and Sue Lee covers too.
Is that the one?
No, it's keep scrolling.
Cheer.
They're gonna be yeah, keep going. There, that's the Brett. Yeah, that one. So that one's the
Oh
Brett
yeah.
Booth.
You could tell.
Delsa. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a big Spawn guy, so I could tell, man. Brett Booth
Oh
is
yeah.
definitely at the top of my list of artists that are amazing, man.
Oh, he's my favorite dude. Like right
Really
now, like
so good.
he's so good, and he's such
Look
a
at him.
great guy too. Like
Yeah.
he's been like a mentor to me in a lot of ways, and
Yeah.
he did a lot. Like when I was just breaking in, he was like always recommending me for DC. Like so he's such a cool dude, and been a huge supporter of mine for a long time. And it was so cool to get him to do this. Like him and Adelso Corona inked it, and Andrew colored it, and it just looks like chef's kiss. It's so good.
So good, man.
That's the Sue Lee cover,
Oh yeah,
which
that
was
looks
really
pretty dope
cool.
too.
Yeah, yeah, it's very ethereal and like beautiful. Like she really captures that sort of like beauty, you know,
Yeah,
especially with her coloring. Yeah,
absolutely. So she did the colors too?
yeah, she did the whole thing. Yeah,
Wow.
and then this is the Joe Benitez cover.
Joe.
So
Yeah.
Joe and Beth Sotelo colored it. Yep, it's
That's
so
so
cool.
cool, man.
Yeah, and Joe was always like one of my artistic heroes growing up. It was so cool to have him to grab him to be able to do this. So I'm
Absolutely,
so
man.
excited.
That is incredible. And then this is the
Yeah.
collector set.
Yeah, so the collector set comes with, so we've got a bunch of merch involved available in different tiers. And so the collector set's like the basic uh kind of merch set in addition to the book. So this one comes with the standard cover A, comes with five stickers of the five of the main characters and two metal bookmarks. And it also comes with a limited edition metal print that artwork is only available as that print. It's not one of the covers. It's a unique piece that is made for that metal print, and it's basically just it's a things to come. Do you remember like it back in X-Men #1 at the end there was the things to come double page spread? That's kind of what the idea of this is. This is sort of like a taste of like what's going to come in the book, and it's a big battle scene between the Soul Strikers, the Fomorians, Roxy, and and Will Quintana actually colored this one, and I'm super proud of this, and very excited to have that as one of the rewards.
So cool, man. All right, let's see what. And
Thank
you have
you.
another one right here.
Yeah, we've got an apparel set, which is a hat and shirt combo. And we're working with a company that makes apparel for fans. So it's going to be like legit stuff. It's going to be direct to garment printing. So it's not going to be like cheap or chintzy. And the logo on the hat is going to be embroidered. So it's going to be like legit cool quality stuff.
That's cool, man. Is that the fun part? Do you like doing that stuff too on the side?
Oh yeah, I love that stuff. Yeah, all like the extra stuff. Like
Yeah.
if I could, if it wasn't so prohibitively expensive, I would definitely have had action figures on here too. You know, just
Yeah.
but it's so expensive to make action figures. So like that's something that's like down the line. Hopefully, you know, at some point.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's crazy. I mean, it's the mold that's super
Hmm.
expensive, man. It's just ridiculous. So here's the metal
Yep.
covers of the same covers though, right? From earlier.
Yep. Same. Yep. So all the covers are available as metal covers as well. Yeah. So
That's
all eight of them. Yep.
dude, this one right here, man.
Yeah, that one's really cool. That one's Axel Arrington, that character.
Yeah,
So yes, the main character. Yeah, Axel Arrington, Varric Nobleson is the guy with the white hair, and Gwendolyn Santos is the girl with the red hair. And then Princess Roxy Sakai is the princess. And those are like that's like our core like squad of heroes for this first volume.
wow. And how many volumes have you already kind of got started? Like, are you already working on volume two, or are you still finishing up volume one?
So volume one, so drawing wise for me, writing and drawing volume, this first book is done, and we still need to color and letter. That's like a big part of what the funds from the Kickstarter are going toward.
Yeah.
So we've already started writing book two,
Yeah.
but I haven't started drawing anything on it yet. So trying to get this one in the
Yeah.
can first
Yeah.
before, yeah. But the plan, like we our plan right now is we have the content to make 12 of these books, like story wise, right? So for 52 page books, that could change. You know, like we have a malleable sort of story where like there's areas where we could expand or there's areas where we could cut down. Like we kind of built that in to see the reception, to see like, you know, how well it's doing, you know, how financially viable it is to do it for long term.
Yeah.
But that's sort of like our macro plan right now.
That's so
Yeah.
cool, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I mean, congratulations on even getting this far, man. This looks amazing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, and we have the like we are scrolling through right now. We have different cover pack sets. So we've got the all V Ken Marion cover set and then the all cover set, which is one's like my five covers and then one's all eight covers, and they're at a discounted price.
Right here.
So so if someone's interested in getting like and that's how you get the Roxy Chase cover is in those
Oh,
packs.
that's how you get that one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Cool, man.
it's also available as a hollow foil on its own too.
Yeah. There's
Let
so
me
many
say that.
options, man. So many options.
Yeah. And we have some original art stuff at the end too. Like
Oh yeah.
so that one's been claimed. So there were two pages to get drawn into the book. Both of those have been claimed already.
Oh, good.
But yeah, that was really those went like the first day, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Um
I could see that.
but we,
Yeah.
but we do have a commission tier if you want to get like a bust or a half body or a full figure commission. And then for the premium art collectors, I'm putting three of the covers up for sale too. So
Oh, wow.
um, yeah.
That's so cool. the head sketch you
Thank
did.
you. Thank you. Yeah, so all the commissions are going to be 11 by 17.
Okay.
And it's character of your choice. So just so it's either like a bust, like a head, chest, bust kind of thing, a half body, which is what you're seeing right now, and then the full figure is like the whole character.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
yeah.
Um, and it's character of your choice, and or if you want to leave it up to me, it'll be a Sol-Stryker character. If it's just if you don't get back to me and don't pick, but yeah, that's like gonna be a fun one to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for a
Yeah.
collector, man, that's absolutely incredible. And this is just everything. I want everything, right? This is the one you do.
Yeah. This is the everything pack. The only thing this one doesn't have is the holofoil covers
Oh,
because that we added mid tier in the campaign.
yeah.
But aside from the holofoil covers, this has everything. So it's got all 8 standard covers, all 8 metal covers. It's got the hat, the shirt, the metal print, the stickers, the metal bookmarks, everything. So
Wow.
yeah, and then these are the original art
Yeah.
tiers for the original covers. Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
thank you, thank
Yeah.
you,
I mean,
thank
what
you.
a piece to have in your collection, man. And then you got the
Oh,
retail.
and we do have for the retail. We do have a retail tier too. So the retail, I'm glad you brought that because I almost forgot. The retailers out there, don't miss out. We do have a retailer tier. It's $200. It comes with 17 copies. So the book will retail for $25 in stores. And it comes with 17 copies, and one of the copies of cover B will have a remark sketch on it too.
Nice, nice. That's a pretty good margin for a retailer too, which they need.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
yeah. No, it's a little. I think it's about like exactly half or less.
Yeah,
It's slightly less than half. I think with
yeah.
the 17. Yeah. So and with the remark one, you could probably bump the price up a little bit. So yeah, hopefully that's a. I talked to a couple retailer friends, and they really kind of guided me into like what the pricing and stuff should be for that. So hopefully this is a good incentive for retailers to jump on board. Because as
Absolutely.
of right now, this is how the only way the book's going to be funded right now. So like we're not sure um, moving forward what we're going to do if we're ever going to do a mass market thing. Like the ideas are always there, but this version of the book, this graphic novel, 64-page version of it, this will only be available through the Kickstarter. And
Okay.
yeah. Or
Yeah.
like if we get extras, will see me at conventions or like buy directly from us. But this version of it won't ever be available in previews. This graphic novel version. So
Nice. Well,
yeah,
retailers get it now. And then this is just a little bio of everybody that's part of the team, right?
yep. This is the whole
Yeah.
team. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, cool, man.
Oh, thank you so
Hey,
much for checking it out. Like, yeah, I want to tell everyone who did back already. Thank you so much. Like from the bottom of my heart,
absolutely.
it's seriously like
Yeah.
it's a dream come true. And if you are seeing this and you think it looks cool, please consider backing it because we have a huge story we want to tell. But to get there, like this funding has to kind of go through, because we have to pay everyone to finish it and to the shipping and printing and all of it. It's very expensive making comics. Like you wouldn't think it is, but yeah. So please, everyone, if it's something that you think is awesome, please go check it out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I got cover A, but I might have to go back and add that Brett Booth one, man, because that was pretty dope.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that one's awesome. Yeah, Brett just crushed it. Yeah,
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what he does, right? That's what he does.
yeah,
That's cool, V. So, the campaign has 11 more days to go.
yep.
And you're almost halfway there. You know how Kickstarters is. You get that big boost at the beginning, and then you're in this valley of
Mhm.
death, man, for a while, which is super stressful.
Yeah,
You're right at that point where now people will start coming back, right? They're probably just waiting. I don't know why they do that. I always say, don't do that. It just makes me stressed out. But
yeah,
hopefully they come back in that last 10 days, man, and put you over the top. But it looks
yeah.
amazing. And you got quite the team working on it. So there's all kinds of reasons. The story sounds amazing. All kinds of reasons to back this.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and if you're watching this later, it's the day it ends is June 1st at 7:40 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're hearing this in a couple days from now, please go check it out and get in there before the campaign ends. We really appreciate all the support.
Absolutely. And then below, I'll make sure I put the link. Can you kind of tell fans of yours or fans that are watching this and that are now fans of yours, can you tell them how to follow you on all social media?
Oh, totally. Yeah. So on Instagram, I'm at V Ken Marion. And on Twitter, I'm at V Ken Marion.
Okay.
And on Twitter, I've got the blue check. Hopefully, I'll have the Instagram one soon. But yeah, you follow me both at both places, and also Neon Frontier Studios on both is our publishing house that me and Jason created to publish this book. So we're posting updates there as well.
And do you guys have a website yet or not yet?
Not yet, no, not
Okay.
yet. Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
just the Kickstarter right now.
It's the
Yeah.
Kickstarter. Yeah, that's awesome,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. It's this is as indie can possibly be. So it was very important to us that it looks and reads as the biggest, most triple A looking title possible. Like I want it to look like it can hang right there next to Batman and Superman and X-Men. Like it's like we're putting everything we have into it to make it and the team we've assembled to make it look like as big budget like and as big book as possible. But behind the curtain, it's like super, super indie. So it is like that's why we don't have the website and certain things up yet. And like this is like my first foray into creator-owned books. So I'm doing a lot of learning every day. I'm like learning a new challenge presents itself, a new learning opportunity.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the way it goes, right? That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's all. And everyone loves indie. So, and indie right now, I think, is on fire. So it's the perfect time to be
Hmm.
an indie. It's, I don't know. I go to my comic shop, man. I bet you I spend 60% of my money on indie stuff. And the other 40%, I'm in my Wednesday picking up my box. So I feel like that's a good
Yeah.
trend for a lot of indie creators. But there's a lot of amazing stories that are happening outside of the big two or big three, however you want to count it. Not that those are
Hmm.
bad. I love my big three, but a lot of really good stories, and this sounds like it's one of them. So congrats on that. Are you going to be at any Comic Cons coming up?
I am. I am. I'm going to actually be at a lot of cons this summer. I'm going to be at Heroes Con in North Carolina, which is June 14th, 15th, 16th. Then going to be the next following weekend. I'm going to be at Garden State Comic Fest in New Jersey. And then the following week after that, I'm going to be at Undiscovered Realm Comic Con in White Plains, New York. And then in August, I'm going to be at Wicked Awesome Con in Boston and then Terrificon in Connecticut. So I'm going to
Nice.
be all over the East Coast. So if you're in any of those cities, be sure to swing by and say hi.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. V, are we leaving anything out, my friend? Anything else?
I think we covered everything. I just want
Yeah.
to say thank you again so much. Thank you so much for having me on and taking the time to talk to me. Like I really, really appreciate it.
No, no, I appreciate you. Congratulations on all the success. And let's see if we can't push this out on social to get more eyes on it. But it looks amazing, and congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Oh yeah, and that reminds me, if anyone who does see this and you back it and I appreciate it so much, also please tell everyone you know about it. Like anyone who loves comics, like even if it's like your friends or whatever, likes fantasy or video games or any of this kind of like stuff, like anime, just tell them about it. Tell them to go check it out because as many eyeballs we can get on it, that'd be so awesome. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
We'll push this thing out hard, man. It looks so awesome. It needs to be in our hands, V. It needs to be in our hands, man.
Oh, from your lips to God's ears, man. I'm
Exactly.
praying it happens. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, V, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on. You're always welcome, my friend. But yeah, until next time, man, I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, Thomas. Thank you so much for having me. Hope you have a good week too.
Yeah, thank you.